All right, the other style of solving these kinds of delta G problems is when we know the delta G of formation of each individual substance. So this is going to work like our same products minus reactants scenario. So if we know the delta G for all of the participants in a reaction, we can calculate delta G for the reaction just by doing products minus reactants. Now we're going to use the same kind of equation we saw before. We did this before when we calculated delta G the longhand way. And the longhand way told us that delta G for this was equal to, let's see, what was it? Let me look back here, 637.5. When we calculate it based on H and S values. Now we're going to recalculate it based on the table values of the free energy of formation, delta G of formation, the third column in those tables in the back of the chapter. So to go through and give us numbers for each of these things. So Al2O3 is minus 1576.4 kilojoules per mole. Elements have no enthalpy of formation. So they're zeros. AlCl3, each mole of that is minus 629. O2 as a gas, that's an element. So these are in kilojoules per mole. And there's our answer that we got before that we're going to reference to. See if we get the same number, 637.5 kilojoules per mole before. So delta G for the reaction, products minus reactants. So it's 4 times 629 negative plus 3 times 0. That quantity minus the quantity 2 times minus 1576.4 plus 6 times 0 kilojoules per mole. So we type those through. 4 times 629 negative minus 2516 plus, because these negatives are going to cancel, plus 2 times 1576.4 plus 636.8. Which agrees very nicely with the number that we got calculating it longhand. They'll never quite agree perfectly because you got a bunch of rounding things that go into it, but you should agree within a kilojoule or two when you calculate it longhand with H and S, or shorthand knowing all the delta G values for the participants in the reaction. So you have to take a look at each problem that you're given and decide how to solve it based on the values you're given. If you're given H and S for all the participants, you got to go the long way. If you're given delta G for each participant, then you can calculate it direct with just products minus reactants. Okay? Thanks, guys.